What happens when you pay an exorbitant amount of money to a trusted, no-hassle bicycle shipping company and then they decide to take that money and not pay the company they subcontract out to do the shipping? Well, you lose your money and your bicycle.
Because he says his main bike was, essentially, held hostage.
All I know is it's sitting in a cargo box somewhere in Southern California with 179 other bikes.
So today I just wanted to touch on some of the news that happened in January in the bicycle industry. I'd like to start doing these once a month, maybe kind of keep everybody up to date on what's happening in the greater bicycle world, but the predominant story here is going to be about Tribike Transport. First and foremost, if you do enjoy this kind of content, please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification button so you never miss a video. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Let's get to it. The first story is going to be Shram announces a mandatory safety stop riding recall on, it looks to be the majority of their Axis road and gravel products. If you purchased it after, I think it was like June of last year. Honestly, all it is that for some reason they put way too much Loctite on the bolt that affixes the shifter to the handlebar. It's a little like band clamp style. It's the same one that's been around for years and years. They put too much Loctite on it, so when you go to actually do the torque, it's going to hit that torque spec way quicker than it should because of the Loctite, and it's not actually going to be tight enough to be on the handlebar. So when you're riding, it can actually slip, and then all of a sudden your shift hoods that you're riding on are going to be down at the bottom, and you could crash. So if you have recently purchased any of those shifters, this is only for the aftermarket stuff. Take it to your local bike shop. It's an easy fix. You don't have to send them in or anything, but did need to point that out. Next up, which this is funny since I just did the video on Pawn, and Pawn owns Pacific Cycles. Pacific Cycles is recalling a ton of e-bikes because guess what? They are catching fire. Not much to say about this. This is what happens with cheap junk electric bicycles. We've all seen the stories. We've seen that New York has now banned anything that's not UL certified because it is creating a catastrophe. Entire apartment buildings are bursting into flames because of cheap electric mountain bikes, road bikes, hybrids, scooters, anything that's got a battery and that seems to be inexpensive. I didn't realize how cheap you can buy an e-bike. Amazon is selling them for like $400. Like, you can't even buy a giant ATX for $400. So please, if you're gonna buy something that has a battery on it, make sure that it's at least UL certified, tested. It doesn't mean that it can't still catch fire, but at least you know it went through some sort of safety regulation. And then sticking with the electric bicycle news, Aventon recalled a ton of e-bikes because they are accelerating unexpectedly and causing a crash. Couldn't find out exactly what was causing this. I will look into it further, but if you do have an Aventon, make sure you take it to where you bought it or contact them, whatever, there is a recall, because throttle will stick and basically it's not gonna let go until you either pull the plug on it or you crash. Now this is a big story that I would like to cover in the future. I think I will. So the bicycle brand Scott has received a loan of 150 million Swiss francs. That's $176 million from their Korean parent from their Korean parent company, Youngwon. Youngwon? It sounds like they might employ some child laborers. Okay, so maybe they don't do child labor, but that's pretty close. This deserves further investigation. Scott borrowed money from their parent company Youngwon in a bid to improve its liquidity in the financial report detailing the loan that will be paid in installments with a 4.6% interest rate. Scott has attributed their current financial position due to the high volume of stock. Now, if you've been following the bike industry at all, you had COVID where there was no inventory. You've got post-COVID now that has a crap ton of inventory. Look at any bike brand out there, you will find a bike that is on sale. That is because everyone is overstocked, and the companies that are a little bit on the smaller side, namely even the big companies, Giant Trek, Specialized, they're hurting. So you know brands like Scott are taking a big hit. This deems further investigation needed. And finally, let's get to the case that I have done the most reading on this past month. It is finally resolved. This started way back in November of last year. I have never covered anything around the triathlon universe because about the only thing I'm good at in a pool or a lake is drowning. But this story is pertinent because the same owner also recently started through bike shipping, which we'll get into. So Tribike Transport is owned by one Mark Lauzon. Started way back in 2005, the company was designed to give competitors a stress-free way to get their bicycles to races. For a fee, of course. You could pay anywhere from $300 to $1,000 to ship your bike depending on the race location, and the allure of this model was all you had to do was take your pedals off. If you've ever went to a race, you tend to want your bicycle because you are fit to it. That's what you've been training on. That is just the smartest thing to do. But if you've ever shipped a bike, you know how much of a hassle it is. That is why when they came out with this Tribike Transport, essentially what you would do is you will remove your pedals, you keep them, and that's it. You wheel that thing into a partner business. They will have a pickup arranged with Tribike Transport. They have their own kind of proprietary system where they take the bike, don't disassemble it whatsoever, stick it in a truck, and they drive it to wherever your race is in the US. But Tribike Transport started getting bigger. Now, I do want to just express to you all how big Tribike Transport is. Let's take a look at their partners. So they are partnered with USA Triathlon, they are partnered with the Ironman series, the biggest tri-series in the world. They are partnered with the Escape from Alcatraz Triathlon, Lifetime Triathlon. Throughbike is actually partnered with USA Cycling. So suffice it to say, Tribike Transport would be like if you had no idea anything about them, you were going to go compete in an Ironman. Of course, this is who they recommend. This is probably who I would trust to do it. So I'm going to start off by saying that I don't think Mark started this company as a scam or with ill intentions. When you let them transport your bike domestically, it looks as though TBT, Tribike Transport, actually has their own drivers and ways of getting your bike to the race safe and sound, but when they started shipping stuff overseas, they had to begin using a freight forwarder by the name of Horizon Entertainment Cargo. A freight forwarder is a company that serves as an intermediary between transportation companies that import and export goods to the businesses that need them. Where things got messy is when Tribike Transport failed to pay HE Cargo for 2 previous shipments, and when HE Cargo got 180 bicycles back from the World Championship Ironman race that was in Pontevedra, Spain. They informed TBT that they were not releasing the bikes until they are all paid up, which Tribike Transport owed them $360,000. Basically, this means that if you are one of the unlucky individuals who shipped with TBT, your bicycle was now being held hostage by HE Cargo for the unpaid invoices.
I just want my bike back.
Well, if Jimmy and the other athletes paid Tribike, but Horizon says Tribike didn't pay them, where did all the athletes' money go?
Very much like to know where the money had gone.
We repeatedly tried to contact Tribike. No one responded.
Now this is within HE Cargo's right to hold the products, even though TBT tried suing them and saying it's illegal to hold product you do not own. But a Los Angeles court sided with HE Cargo, and furthermore, if the invoice isn't paid off within 30 days, you are able to sell off the goods to recoup your costs. This is something a lot of people don't think about, even within the bicycle industry, within like North Carolina with repairs. If you drop your bicycle off, it is repaired, we alert you, whatever, and you don't pick it up within, I think, 30 days. I need to look it up because we've never actually had to do this. But there's a certain time frame. If it's not picked up within, we're legally able to just sell the bike to recoup the cost. The CEO of Tribike Transport even tried to put a lien on his house, but HE Cargo wasn't having it. They wanted paid what they were owed, and rightly so. Tribike Transport claimed that HE Cargo isn't allowed to do that, but when they entered into an agreement with HE Cargo back in 2019, they signed a document, and this is why the court ruled in their favor, The document said, in the event applicant or any affiliate of applicant defaults in the payment of any sums due to American worldwide agencies and related companies, they are hereby authorized by the applicant to take possession of any freight then being shipped by the applicant and hold the same until payment is made. So again, all of this happened at the end of last year, but the positive ending to this saga is that everyone got their bikes back because Tribike Transport has traveler's insurance and they just now stepped up and paid the balance to HE Cargo. That's a pretty big deal for the traveler's insurance to just take care of it. So the athletes got their bikes back, HE Cargo is all paid up. Now what happens to Tribike Transport? And more importantly, in my opinion, what happens to Through Bike? It's all one company, and Through Bike is kind of starting to gain some traction as a alternative to like bike flights, you know. It is a bicycle specific shipping company. This is an evolving story, but it just adds to the ever-growing list of companies that seem to have their ducks in a row, only to find out you can never be too careful. Luckily, the athletes all got their bikes back, but Tribike Transport is obviously out of money, and I guess everyone's just going to be back to transporting their bicycles through FedEx, the good old-fashioned way. So there you have it, guys. There was the news from January, a lot packed in. I'm glad that everybody got their bicycles back. If you check the Tribike Transport website, looks like they are still shipping stuff. I don't know what's going to happen with Tribike Transport, but it's not looking good. Let me know down below what you guys found interesting inside the bicycle world for January. February is already here. Got some more races coming up finally, and I am working on the bike shop series. So I love you all. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.